Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Coffee with Kevin edition here. And I'm very fortunate to have a good friend of mine that I've known for a couple of years, 20 some odd years in the industry. He's an expert in the industry, seen it all, done it all, been around it, and has had a huge successful practice for many, many years. Also runs a very successful and large training institute out of Arizona. This is my good friend, Larry Helwig with ClearSkin Institute. So Larry, thank you for joining us on the Coffee with Kevin. I saw your mug, so let's, cheers to your mug there. There you
Cheers.
go.
Thank you for inviting me, Kevin. We love these. We think if we can get the word out to people so they can have get the benefit that we've gotten, it's all good.
The whole purpose of this is to educate people and help people kind of understand either products or technologies or, how they really become successful in a market. Because really, at the end of the day, we all want everyone in the market to be successful because it helps us all to be better and it helps the market grow in a exponential way. So, Larry here is probably one of the smartest business slash practitioners that I've been involved with. And, he has a very unique perspective. He actually has been on the podium at multiple different events across different trade shows and different events, talking about how do you really build a practice. That's a lot of what he does in his ClearSkin Training Institute. He talks about really the return on investment. So the one new product that's been really exciting for us, and I know Larry brought this on at ClearSkin, was the eye laser. So Larry, what are you using the eye laser for? We know what it is, but how are you using it? What are you seeing, and what are patients asking for?
Well, when you take a look at your practice, which is what we're doing all the time, we're always evaluating our database, what's happening out there. And with all the dietary products that are going on, we're seeing loose skin everywhere from head to toe. And I know it's one of the fastest growing markets right now. Everyone's talking about it. And so we like to look at, okay, what can we do where we can do a face, a neck, we can do upper arms, we can do flank, we can do, thighs, you can do pretty much the entire body. And that's really what we're interested in because you typically don't lose the volume in just one place. You don't end up with laxity in just one place. So even if that wasn't involved with all the injectables and things that are going on, let's just say age related. Well, just from age alone, we have a huge, huge market. I feel fortunate because our patients are generally 45 to 100. They all have loose skin. And so, you have that. And then you also have some patients with some stubborn fat, submental fat, buccal fat, a little volume in the tricep or in the flank, different areas like that. Well, having a device that can do both is huge. And we always thought, man, if there was just one thing that we could go in and do it all, we'd be thrilled. When this whole product of eye laser was introduced, it's like, oh, well, that takes care of the laxity problem, but it also allows us at the same time to do volume if there's volume there. So that's why we looked at it, and that's why we purchased it and have fallen in love with it. So it's not very hard when we're not a volume facility. We're more concierge. But if we have 20 patients a day, 16, 17 out of them can really benefit. You still have to sell them, but can benefit from tightening or volume reduction someplace on their body. And so, it's just bringing that in and getting used to having a technology that's capable of doing all that. Because if you've never had it before, you have to change your thinking. Oh my God, I can do all of it. I can do head to toe. We literally had one patient buy 6 different areas, one patient. Well, when we do a face and neck, that's about 45 minutes. Let's just say an hour at the most. That's $6,500. So the ROI is so positive and the results are remarkable. So, different areas of the body, we have different price points. Upper arms are 4,000, inner thigh, anterior thigh is 7,000. And again, these procedures are pretty quick, pretty easy to do. We have had days where we've done 3 patients in one day, and some of them were more than one area. So the ROI has been so positive for us, and it's becoming one of our bigger referrals. So our business thrives on getting referrals. So they want what their friend had. And this is a device where people are saying, okay, I had this area and this area done, loved it, that type of thing. And to me, that's the best lead you can ever get, is a referred lead.
To go back when we had first talked and you kind of gave your criteria of what it is when you buy a piece of equipment, because that's always the big thing. Like how do you evaluate equipment? What are kind of key points that you look at when you're looking at buying like a thing like the eye laser out there for all the different areas? What are you really trying to figure out?
Well, I think the first thing is there a need? I mean, look at your practice. Do you have people with laxity? Do you have some people with some volume in places that you are not currently addressing? That patient is now coming to me or someone like me, and you'll lose that patient. And so you look at your database and you look at the patients that are coming in every day, and I guarantee you, if you take a close look and really evaluate what you have, you are going to find a whole lot of full body laxity. That's for sure. And then you're going to find different parts that have volume, and again, submental and buccal and upper arm and all of these areas, bra fat, anterior, posterior, very successful. That if you actually talk to the patient about it, they would love to see that gone. And so, number one, there's got to be a need. Number two, it has to be safe. You're not going to bring something in that isn't safe. This has a nice history, and we know about the history, and we've had 0 issues. Boy, how many have we done? I can't tell you off the top of my head, but we've done a lot of treatments with it, no issues whatsoever, and patients love the outcome. So from a safety standpoint, it's there. We've got that. Effective, it has to be effective. You need the results. Again, it's becoming one of our leading referrals. That does not happen unless it's working. No one's going to tell their sister, their cousin, their next door neighbor to go in to ClearSkin, have the eye laser treatment if they weren't happy with it. And the fact that it's becoming one of our major referrals, is telling us that that works. And lastly, but also extremely important, the ROI. Why the hell do it if you're not making money? Right?
Yeah.
We're all in business. We want to do a good job on our patients. It is critical that we make people look amazing, but we have to be paid for it. There's product coming out. There's all these things we want to market and things we want to do. And we have a retirement to think about. We need to make money. And so the ROI with this is so strong, and it really gives a nice option a lot of times to trying to do liposuction in submental or small areas and all that. This can do it so simply and do the tightening all at the same time. So the ROI is extremely strong.
So it sounds like to me, if I was working the numbers backwards, as you start saying some of those numbers out there of what you do and what you're charging, probably paid for the device a couple times by now, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've had it 6 months, 8 months, 6 months, something like that. And I'm sure we've paid for it at least twice over.
Okay, well that's not a bad one.
Well, when you get patients doing multiple areas, and that's really what we found, we were so surprised. I mean, we do one area on a lady, and then she buys 5 more areas,
Wow.
with an average area of, say, 5,500 to $6,000. on one patient, you're doing very, very well. And the thing is, they always have options, liposuction, having surgery, having things like that. Not all patients are candidates for the anesthesia, for the surgical procedure. But for this, it's very, very easy again. It's a relatively short time procedure. This isn't something you're going to be doing a area for hours. It's not like that at all. So for us, the ROI has been extremely positive.
Awesome. And so when you're seeing patients come in, what is kind of the most popular area that you're seeing people request in on doing treatments? Is it face? Is it body? What are you seeing?
Face and neck.
Face and neck. Okay.
I'll tell you, the neck, because the skin is thin. In fact, I'm having the procedure in the next couple weeks. It's driving me crazy. And so Anne said, "Well, why haven't we treated you?" And I said, "Yeah, good question." So yes, I'm going to do my neck, but in most cases, low face and neck go together. It really does. And so, you can do a low face for, 4,500 or something like that. But when you're doing it and you have everything set up and you're going at it to go ahead and anesthetize and do the neck, you're not adding that much time. But boy, what a nice outcome. So now everything's in the same decade. Let's not put the face in a different decade than the neck. That looks ridiculous. So put it all together for them. 6,500. You can charge whatever you want. That's what we charge, and we have no problem getting it. So I think, it's a good way to do it.
Awesome. And maybe when you get a little break in your schedule there, you can fit me in for a neck treatment. I can always use it as I get older in life.
Well, again, thin skin and I'm old as dirt, see, so I grew up in the generation that baby oil and sun tanning, and I thought it was important that I be as dark as Whoopi Goldberg, and I worked hard on it, and I was dark. And so I'm sure I destroyed a lot of collagen along the way and hurt my skin. So, I have to do some things, but that is true with everyone that's about, 50 and older. We were all kind of in that. And so we see patients every day when I do consults. They're coming in and same history that I have, and they need the same things that I need. So, it's very, very common. And I think anybody that has a practice where if your practice is all young people, you're doing hair removal, all day long. That's your practice, and a couple other things and some injectables, whatever. But if you have a practice that are in that middle age or older, you're going to have laxity all day long. And it's just a matter of doing the consult and then remembering we can treat this. We can go after that and just ask the patient, have you ever thought about, what you would look like if we tighten this, and just go up to the patient, pull the neck back, bring this back? How would you like that? And I'm telling you, this is not a difficult sale because it drives everybody crazy. They all want it.
Well, it's interesting because I think you had mentioned last time we talked a month ago, you were talking about how patients that came in for one thing, they always kind of came back for I think the comment you said is they always said, well, what more can I do? Like,
Yeah.
I like what I did, but what more? And take it to the next step. And obviously with the eye laser, it's a minimally invasive procedure, 30 to 40 minutes, kind of roughly time. How much do you really think in downtime? Like, what are we really talking on downtime for?
The next day, they're not going to experience much of anything. If there's a lot of volume that you're killing. Now, the advantage that we found with this device, skin has memory just like muscle. And so we are using a garment, which we have found to be a huge bonus because, we have to train everything. You get a puppy, if you don't train it, it pees on your carpet forever. Okay. Everything needs training. So skin is no different, and so if we put a garment and have them wear that for a week or so, the difference is so dramatic. I think we're extending the longevity of the treatment. And, for those that work at home, this is an easy thing. But for others, at least when they're at home, they're doing it. And maybe they can do it for a second week when they're at home. But I have found that that is a huge bonus. And so, anyway, people do come back. They get a good outcome, and it is what's next? What should I do? I've had this, I've had this. Well, what should I do? And this is where, in our practice, everyone gets a full consultation annually. Everybody, because there's new technology, there's new technique, there's new protocols for everything. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. And so we want to see that patient. And of course, with age, you're a year older, things change. And so we always do that. We're reevaluating everyone, and we do a lot of body consults. It's not just face and neck, but full body, and you find out all the different things that have changed or is changing. And the one thing I can tell from my own personal experience, as you age, things change faster. It's like, oh my God, what next, So I think, and again, having a database, if you have a database of 50 and older and stuff, they all recognize that. And so I tell them that's why we're going to see you again in 12 months. We're going to reevaluate. But once they've done one thing and they like it, they do want what's next. And so sometimes it's less than a year. It might be in 6 months they're coming back and what else can I do now? But that is always the case when you did a good job to begin with. They're happy.
So last thing, to any tips or advice of people that, have a practice, they're considering bringing something non-invasive such as the eye laser, any tips or tricks or anything that you can suggest to someone to, maybe help them decide how to make it work, or maybe what they should look at as to really decide if this fits their practice properly?
Well, again, your database is going to give you that answer, but it's the end of the year, section 179. This is the time. Buy yourself a Christmas present. And actually, it's really a Christmas present for your patients, and they don't even realize it. So, this is the time where you make that extra effort and you really look at it. Okay, my tax liability is such and such. This is what I've got to do. I can save this much by making the purchase now. Negotiate your best deal and get your extra discount from Section 179. But the other thing you can do, is just send out a text message to your patients or an email, or have a little event in which, you talk about how many of you would be interested if we could do really good full body skin tightening. You probably have one, two, three areas or more. Would that be of interest? What if you had some volume that we could do at the same time? We can also do that. So I think the thing is people have, offices, med spas, clinics, whatever you want to call them, they all have these patients that are not being addressed. They have these concerns and no one is really talking about it. And we're trying to do these little things to try to tighten over 6, 8, 10 treatments. This is one and done. It is so much simpler. You're collecting all that money up front right now, and it's a very, very easy procedure. It does not take long to do. You get a nice tax write-off this time of year, and your patients are going to love you for it. The other thing, what we did is we did offer for a very short period of time a discount. And man, that brought everybody in. Take 10%, 15, even 20 if you want, because you're starting at, if we're doing something with the glutes, we're doing glutes, it's $8,000. Even if you take a little bit off, you still have good money. And the tightening is insane. So we know that anything that sticks out, breasts and butts, have more gravity. There's more pull, they're going to fall. All right, so you can treat both. So the idea is, start thinking about how you can incorporate this, get your tax write-off, get this going for, next year. You're gonna have a great opportunity to definitely increase your revenue for the next 12 months. So I would say, looking at your practice, and if you have a database of any number, 500 or more, you have got a patient population that can benefit from this. Take advantage of it.
Well, to finish this off, and thank you, Larry, but I am going to tell everyone, listen, I appreciate you all getting on and listening to another Coffee with Kevin, but I do want to tell you that I've been through the ClearSkin Institute course. They've got a fantastic course, not only on how to do the treatments, but also how to consult the patient and really talk to the patient. And to be perfectly honest, I think that is in our industry one of the things we don't do very well at, or the ones that do very well are the most successful practices, and the ones that maybe struggle a little bit need a little bit of coaching, a little bit of help. So I would absolutely recommend everyone to go through the course. It's held at the ClearSkin Institute. It is Arizona and a wonderful time of year, so it's never bad to go out there, and they've got a fantastic facility. But Larry, how do they reach out to you if they want to figure out to come to one of your courses? What do they do?
Larry at phxmed.com, or give us a call, 602-274-8254.
Or can they go to the ClearSkin Institute online and see it
Go
there as well?
online. Yep, just go look up ClearSkin, go to our website. We have everything on the website, and we'd love to see you. We do laser courses, we do full certifications, we do all kinds, but the consultation is a big deal, and so
Yep.
many people do not know how to do it. And I do $15,000 to $20,000 consults all the time, and people always think my patients won't pay that, and they're absolutely wrong. It's knowing how to do it. So anyway, we can help you.
Well,
Thank
thank you, Larry. I
you.
appreciate you taking the time today, and have a wonderful rest of the week and year. And thank you for getting on a coffee with Kevin and give us a little insight of how you've done well with this and how you can maybe help some other people be successful out there.
Love to do it. Thank you, Kevin.